Klass, thank you very much for your time. And tell us really to start with, you've been in India for about 10 years now. How has your experience been in working in India firstly and working with startups?
It's been excellent. You don't stay in a country for 10 years if you're not enjoying your stint. So initially I probably came with a 2-3 year outlook to India. I came here for professional reasons because I saw a lot of opportunity in tech M&A, and at that point in time it was predominantly IT services M&A. But I also had a personal reason to be here. And when that personal reason changed, I still decided to stay back because I was really enjoying the raw power and the energy and the opportunity of an emerging market. And I was also probably starting to see that besides the opportunity in IT offshoring, which is really where, I would say between the late 90s and 2006-07, most of the opportunity was in tech in India. I saw a startup ecosystem starting to emerge with a lot of, much more product-focused tech startups starting to emerge. And that's really what interested me. And I think it's just a wonderful experience working with a broad number and so many different entrepreneurs and seeing them achieve their dreams and trying to be part of helping them achieve their dreams.
How similar or different are the ecosystem for business startups in India and globally?
No, I think, of course, India is a more recent ecosystem. So if you look at the ecosystem in the US, Silicon Valley, or China, or Israel, or Europe for that matter, they're all older ecosystems. But I think definitely, especially in the last couple of years, things have accelerated a lot in India. By and large, because after US, China, when it comes to internet and digital media, India is the one white space opportunity, the $1 billion plus or billion plus consumer market, which is by and large untapped. So I think that's the whole consumer opportunity has driven a lot of investment and a lot of excitement. And I think the other one which is definitely there is that from a market which was solely focused on offshoring IT services, there is also now a lot of product-based startups in the software space which are starting to see and attract attention from global investors.
What do global companies look at when they're looking at acquiring an Indian tech startup?
I think the answer is probably different for consumer companies versus product companies, B2B focused product companies. If I look at B2B focused product companies, they would look at, is this going to add to my global product portfolio? Is this a product which I already have or not? They would look at, how good is the team? Is this an engineering team that can not only continue to scale this product, but can also potentially, help me scale my engineering efforts? I think if you start to look at the consumer side of things, consumer internet, it's predominantly, what's the market position? Is this the market leader? Is the business model one which has various forms of, I would say, entry barriers around it, and has it a continued ability to scale and remain market leading? So in general, people on the consumer side will really look at acquiring for market leadership, for access to the customer base.
The M&A deal size in India are relatively smaller as compared to USA or Israel. What do you think is the reason for that?
I think first and foremost, it's a situation where right now the inventory of businesses which are scaling and starting to become sizable is being built. It's really first and foremost to do with a situation where historically the amount of investment which came into software and internet and digital media companies is just a fraction of what it is today. And hence, a lot of companies are still building, scaling. So I think that's one. We kind of, because of that, really see that it's more of the next 5 to 10 years, if the ecosystem, given how much dollars have been invested, is to kind kind of become comparable to the US and India on the M&A side, then M&A has to grow 10x from here. And agree with you, most of the M&A which has happened till date is relatively small, smaller companies where acqui-hires or where there's not been the successful scaling who get pivoted into another company. Those type of transactions is the majority of transactions which have happened. But slowly you're starting to see larger transactions.
From your personal experience in the M&A market in India, what has really changed and what's working?
If I look at personal experience, what I definitely see is that things are becoming more professional. In the West, negotiations in M&A can be pretty clinical, cutthroat. I think here, what I've learned is that there's kind of a wider range in which people negotiate. The kind of elements of what you would come across in a store or in a bazaar. Some of that you still see in M&A processes where the negotiations happen in a wider range, and people are probably, I think, more confident to try their luck a bit, be aggressive in their ask. That's definitely slightly different, I would say, in Europe or the US, where things are slightly more clinical. What I also see in cross-border transactions is that the Indian hospitality comes up, and I think there is much more of a kind of culture here of quite quickly during the negotiations going out for a meal together and making it, showing the Indian hospitality and making it more than just a business conversation. And that's something which I think is quite unique.
Do you think the extremely high valuations in the startup private market is creating a bubble of sorts?
I think first and foremost one has to see the current valuations in the context, because private investors really pay for future growth, and that future growth potential is phenomenal. Are there individual segments of the market where valuations might have gone a little ahead of themselves? Potentially, yes. I think these are things which happen. They tend to self-correct themselves. And again, if investors come with a long-term view, not just looking at, okay, where will I stand in terms of my returns 12 months from now or 24 months from now, but if you take a 5 to 10 year view, then the market will definitely deliver, and the leaders will scale and become a lot more valuable over time.
Thank you very much, Klass, for your time and the insights.
From being a voracious reader as a little girl, Madhu Natraj believed that she would make a career in commerce and journalism. Hive Platform is the latest offering from Zolo Mobile's newest operating system, specially designed for Indian customers.